Guyana makes its 17th oil discovery. APNU and AFC signed revised Cummingsburg Accord, and the head of state attends Christmas Mass. Stay with us as we take you through major stories covered from December 21 to 27. Guyana is ending the year on a high note with its 17th major oil find announced on Monday, days after President David Granger announced that the country has commenced oil production.
In an address to the nation on Friday evening, President David Granger announced that oil production has commenced 3 months ahead of the originally scheduled date. The head of state also declared December 20 as National Petroleum Day, which will serve as a reminder of the duties to protect the country's patrimony and to ensure the sustainable management of finite hydrocarbon resources.
Petroleum production will be a transformative process in the country's economic development. The petroleum sector will stimulate increased employment and expand services. Your government will unveil a decade of development, 2020 to 2029, aimed at ensuring that petroleum resources will be utilized to provide the good life for all.
3 days after his announcement, ExxonMobil announced its 15th find in the Stabroek Block, bringing Guyana's total number of oil discoveries up to 17. The Mako-1 well encountered approximately 164 feet of a high-quality oil-bearing sandstone reservoir. It was drilled in 5,315 feet of water. It is located approximately 6 miles or 10 kilometers southeast of the Liza field, which began producing oil in December 2019. This is Guyana's 7th oil discovery for 2019. 2019 kicked off with 2 major discoveries by ExxonMobil in February. The Tilapia-1 and Haimara-1 wells in the southwest section of the Stabroek Block were Guyana's 11th and 12th discoveries. In April, the Yellowtail-1 well discovery was announced by ExxonMobil. August saw the announcement of the country's 14th oil discovery and the first for Tullow oil at the Jethro-1 well. 1 month later, a double discovery was made. The Joe-1 exploration well was drilled in the Oranduke block by Tullow, while Triple Tail-1 was discovered in the Stabroek block by Exxon. 2018 was an equally successful year, with 6 discoveries being made. Turbo, Ranger, Pecora, Longtail-1, Hammerhead-1, and Pluma-1 were all drilled in the Stabroek block by Exxon. 2017 saw the discoveries of Payara and Snook, with Liza Deep in 2016 and Eliza-1 in 2015.
His Excellency David Granger joined worshippers at St. Matthew's Parish Church, Providence Public Road, East Bank, Demerara, for Christmas Day Mass.
The head of state was accompanied by his daughter, Miss Afua Granger. President Granger, in a brief address to the parishioners, expressed the hope that with the advent of oil production, Guyana will become a more developed country and that unemployment, illiteracy, and other societal ills will be eradicated.
Although this is the celebration of Christ's birthday, in a way it is a celebration. By announcing National Petroleum Day, is a celebration of what Guyana will become over the next 10 years. It will become a more developed country.
Reverend Clarence Narine officiated over the service, during which prayers were offered for President Granger and members of the congregation. Felicia Valenzuela, InfoHub.
Finance Minister, the Honorable Winston Jordan, said the latest discovery of petroleum offshore Guyana represents the beginning of a transformative economy.
The oil company announced on Monday that it made its 15th oil discovery offshore Guyana at the Mako-1 well southeast of the Liza field. The discovery comes 3 days after it commenced oil production. However, this marks the 17th discovery for Guyana, with 2 discoveries by Tullow. Minister Jordan said the announcement offers hope for all of Guyana.
This petroleum, with its possibilities of billions of US dollars coming to Guyana, offers us hope that we could turn around this country once and for all.
This transformation, he said, shall be felt by all Guyanese, both young and old, that they are enjoying the good life.
I see a Guyana that is interconnected, where the coast and the hinterland are no longer strangers, but we can connect it by rail, we could connect it by boat, we could connect it by bridges, we could connect by roads, and so on.
The new discovery adds to the current resource estimate of more than 6 billion barrels of oil equivalent. Mako 1 encountered approximately 164 feet of a high-quality oil-bearing sandstone reservoir. Reporting for InfoHub, Alexis Rodney.
Norway has released $9.1 billion to the Guyana Red Plus Investment Fund, administered by the World Bank for disbursement to Guyana for approved projects. This was confirmed on Tuesday by the head of the Project Management Office of the Ministry of the Presidency, Dr. Marlon Bristol. He noted that a release of funds was made last Wednesday to the World Bank. The World Bank issued a confirmation Tuesday that the funds have been received. Dr. Bristol noted that the funds will be used for projects in areas such as renewable energy, green tourism, biodiversity, and strengthening of indigenous mechanisms, among others. Coalition Partners, a partnership for national unity, and the Alliance for Change on Tuesday signed the revised Cummingsburg Accord as they prepare to contest the March 2020 general and regional elections as one.
The coalition remains intact as President David Granger, as leader of the Partnership for National Unity (APNU), and Public Security Minister Kemra Jamjatan, as leader of the Alliance for Change (AFC), on Friday, signed the revised Cummingsburg Accord. Director General of the Ministry of the Presidency and General Secretary of the APNU, Joseph Harmon, and the Minister of Public Infrastructure and General Secretary of the AFC, David Patterson, and other ministers of government were present to witness the signing. President Granger said that the two parties over the past 4.5 years have worked well towards building a better Guyana. With that, he noted that the accord gives more strength to the Prime Minister's office with the addition of a parliamentary secretary.
He will also be in charge of a robust legislative agenda to make sure that the promises that will be embedded in the manifesto are in fact fulfilled. They will not be empty promises, but these would be actionable, achievable commitments to the Guyanese people.
The lessons learned over the last 4 years, the President noted, have built a foundation for an enhanced government and quality of governance in the coalition. Minister Ramjatan said the coalition government will provide the country with the kind of leadership it needs to take it forward.
It was always my firm conviction that coalition politics is the kind of politics that will give us the governance that Your Excellency just mentioned, and that will take us in a massive way forward at a very quick rate. I believe we are better together.
AFC's General Secretary David Patterson also echoed similar sentiments.
I could say on behalf of the Alliance for Change that the end result is quite fitting. It's quite palatable to everyone in both sides of both parties, and I do think this will show the people that we have learned from our 4 years in office and that we have a progressive plan.
Isaiah Braffett for InfoHub.
A year after an attempt to topple the coalition government, Minister of Finance, the Honorable Winston Jordan, says the administration remains firm and strong.
The thought they had knocked us out. But look, 1 year plus afterwards, where are we?
Still here.
Right here.
Still here.
Okay, you know why? Because the coalition government has resilience, and we are not for the short sprint. We're thoroughbreds. 1.25 miles. Not too many can make that distance.
Minister Jordan was addressing residents of Nonpareil, East Coast Demerara on Monday. He said the government showed grit, notwithstanding the challenges, including the multiple lawsuits it faced. According to him, the coalition government is still standing and working for the people of Guyana.
We can look forward to good times under this government.
For InfoHub, I am Kelon Rover reporting.
President David Granger has lauded the contributions and service of late President Desmond Hoyt on the occasion of his 17th death anniversary. Paul McAdam filed that story on Monday.
His Excellency President David Granger, ministers, members of parliament, family and special invitees gathered at the Place of Heroes, 7 Ponds, in the Botanical Gardens on Sunday to observe the 17th death anniversary of former President Hugh Desmond Hoyt, SC.
He was a man of his times. He was the author of the Economic Recovery Program launched in 1989, which led to high levels of growth during the period 1989 to 1992. He was the motivator behind the economic liberalization, which transformed an inward-looking economy into a buoyant market-oriented economy. And he was the visionary behind the environmental protection program that we enjoy today.
The head of state reminded that the late president was one of the earliest leaders that identified the vital role which small states could play in protecting the world's environment.
He committed, in response to the Langkawi Declaration issued by the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia in 1989, to set aside 371,000 hectares of forest, an area bigger than Malta, to be used as a model for conservation and sustainable development. That meeting sounded an early warning of the threats to Earth's environment by identifying the greenhouse effect, the depletion of the ozone layer, acid rain, marine pollution, land degradation, and biodiversity loss as among the world's worst environmental threats.
The late president was responsible for African, Caribbean, and Pacific affairs under the Lomé Convention and acted as the ACP spokesman on sugar from 1981 to 1983. As a member of the heads of government of the CARICOM conference, he promoted freedom of movement within the community and had responsibility for coordinating CARICOM's policy on the environment for the Earth Summit in Rio in 1992. He was also nominated as CARICOM's spokesperson on sugar.
Hugh Desmond Hoyt was a serious man, living in serious times. He was a champion of change in the country. His policies laid a firm foundation for sustained economic growth and environmental stewardship. He embraced continuity in our party, strengthening it as a major political force in charting collaborative partnership relationships. Guyana can learn much from his prudent approach to economic management and to political cooperation.
The late President Hugh Desmond Hoyt, SC, was the second executive president of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. He served in several capacities before assuming office. His portfolios included Home Affairs Minister from 1969 to 1970, Finance Minister from 70 to 72, Economic Development Minister in 74 to 1980, and Prime Minister from 1984 to 1985. He then served as President from 85 until 1992. The late President Hoyt died on December 22, 2002. Paul McAdam for InfoHub.
The Department of Energy has announced that Shell Western Supply and Trading Limited will purchase Guyana's first 3 lifts of crude oil. Phase 1 of its 2-step crude marketing process is also close to completion.
The Department of Energy had previously announced a 2-phased approach to lifting and marketing of Guyana's crude, and according to a statement from the Director of Energy, Dr. Mark Bino, the agency remains committed to its timeline. This month's first phase is a direct sale process, with the second being an open market request for proposals, RFP, in early 2020. That phase will be for an agent to market Guyana's crude entitlements from the Liza 1 field on a term basis. The department said this was necessary to allow for, amongst other things, adequate preparation in structuring and completing the RFP for marketing in early 2020. The statement from the Department of Energy also indicated that given the accelerated timing of first oil and with Guyana's first lift expected in February 2020, a short-term Phase 1 process became necessary. As a result, a selected group of 9 listed international oil companies, IOCs, were invited to express interest. The interested parties submitted their proposals in writing and were subjected to a face-to-face meeting with the Department of Energy to present the full scale of their capabilities. Companies were also required to lay out the details of their proposals. The companies participating in the Phase 1 process include 3 partners in the Stabroek field, while the others are IOCs. These IOCs have, among others, integrated upstream, midstream, and downstream value chains, global refining footprints, and experience in the introduction of new crude grades from and into multiple geographies. Meanwhile, the Energy Director says the sale to Shell Western was based on a comprehensive pricing that limits the government's exposure to market uncertainty, the size, scale, and global reach of the Shell trading operations, and the company's high level of integration between upstream trading and downstream. Felicia Valenzuela, InfoHub.
While many families across Guyana got together on Christmas morning for the traditional breakfast and the ritual of opening presents, the Merriman's Mall playground located in the capital city was also abuzz with much activity. It was a special care of the homeless event organized by a minister with responsibility for youth affairs, the Honorable Simona Brooms.
Bright and early Christmas morning, Minister with responsibility for youth affairs, the Honorable Simona Brooms and team, along with the King's family from Dominion House, transformed the Merriman's Mall playground into a boutique, barbershop, and a salon with facilities to shower and clean up, and then finally an open-air restaurant. The event was the 3rd year of Christmas with the homeless in the city. Seeking only to help, Minister Brooms noted that every homeless person has a unique situation.
It's all about bringing love, joy, peace, and happiness. This is a time where we celebrate the birth of Christ. So it's all about giving back every Christmas. This is the 3rd year. We're in the mall.
Minister Brooms gives a rundown of how the day is spent.
We spend half or 3/4 of the day here for the past 3 years with the homeless. Come in here, they have a shower, they have fresh clothing, hot porridge, then straight into breakfast. Then lunch, you have the barbers, you have hairdressers, giving them pedicure, manicure, so it's a full makeover.
Despite a minor setback, Minister Brooms was thankful for citizens who not only contributed monetarily, but for those who also give their time and service on Christmas Day.
Really and truly, we are trusting God to end homelessness in Guyana. It's not a nice look, it's not a good feeling, it's not a nice experience, it's a very sadful one.
From the information gathered, Minister Brooms hopes to engage the Ministry of Social Protection and NGOs to see how together a plan could be mapped out to end homelessness. Felicia Valenzuela, InfoHub.
On December 25th, staff of the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation happily welcomed 6 newborns. 4 of them were brought into the world by natural birth, while the remaining 2 were birthed via cesarean section.
The first mother to give birth on Christmas Day was Sarah Beck-Harry to a son at 12:38. She was followed by Oceana Bruce at 2:13 hours and Aliyah Bacchus at 3:25 hours, both giving birth to sons as well. The mothers who underwent C-section were Primati Mahadio, who delivered a girl at 4 hours, and Marcel Josiah, a boy, at 5:52 hours. The last mother to give birth was Shamiza Wiltshire at exactly 7 hours. Shortly after this, First Lady Sandra Granger and Minister of State Honorable Dawn Hastings Williams visited the ward where the mothers and their babies were at rest. As customary, the mothers received maternity hampers for themselves and their babies. The First Lady and the State Minister took the opportunity to visit the pediatric ward to extend Christmas wishes to staff and patients there. Neil Lediman, InfoHub.
This has been InfoHub Recap, which looked at major stories carried from December 21 to 27. Remember to subscribe to our website for more stories and follow us on our social media platforms. Also, do take some time to review the Diaspora Digest and other publications found on our website. Have a safe and enjoyable weekend. Goodbye.